Okay, what's new in the RFA? So first off, this grant is all about serving at-risk kids, and most of the changes that we've made in the RFA are focused on improving how we serve at-risk children. This program can provide hope and life-changing experiences for the kids that are most in need, okay? A successful quality program is going to see attendance increase, behavior problems decrease, reading and math scores rise, and kids reconnecting with the value of learning in school. And as we provide more social emotional learning, we are increasing emphasis on providing snacks and full meals that provide the nutrition that these growing children need for their health and learning. Okay, here is the schedule, and this is also on the department website of the RFA meetings, and there are 4 of them. And the login for Zoom are exactly the same. One of the new things we've done in the hope of making it a little easier, we've broken the application into 3 sections. Number 1, instructions for the process. Number 2, the actual application. And number 3, the Excel spreadsheets for your budgets. Critical dates are November 13th for getting your letter of intent in via SurveyMonkey, and the application, which is due December 11th. So you've got to get that into us. We need also an electronic copy and a 2 paper copies. And your application will not be complete without everything. And if you have any questions, you need to direct them to me. This time we're putting more emphasis on meals. Now, you are required to provide a snack during the program. However, what we're trying to do is go beyond that to really meet children's nutritional needs. And now more than ever, with the pandemic and everything we've gone through, these kids need a little extra support. And, you know, we are doing everything we can to support you on that. If you haven't been funded before, you'll be asked to participate in a new grantee staff transition. If you're a previously funded grantee and you've got, say, somebody new in your program, you should put them in this committee that meets monthly. What we do is we provide resources and dialogue and training so that it helps you to understand everything that's required for this grant, and it should eliminate a lot of potential issues. And if you have key staff changed, even as a previously funded grantee, you're going to be enrolled in this committee. Okay, USDA funds, not only snacks, but full meals. There's a special at-risk after-school meal component that you can apply for. And I know there's been a little change recently with the summer feeding program being extended into December. And, you know, schools are taking advantage of this, and they can serve breakfast and lunch paid for by the USDA. But after-school programs can apply and get funding for a snack and a full meal through this at-risk program. And that's a good thing for us. So the only bad thing is eligibility starts at 50% free and reduced lunch. So if you're under 50%, you won't qualify for the USDA program. However, you can still use the 21st Century money to provide the snack, and you can also partner with someone like the food bank and go for a full meal on that as well. Now, you may not be aware that this funding for the USDA program is even available on the weekends. So if you wanted to have a Saturday school to catch up the children that have been away from school for so long and the grades may be suffering, you can do that and still provide them with food through this program. So that's a wonderful thing, and I hope you guys will take advantage of it. Okay, so some additional changes is that in the administrative costs, those are included in indirect costs, and there's a limit overall of 8%. And that's also in our financial guidance, but I wanted to point that out. Some of you may have had other grants in the past with a higher indirect cost, but with this federal grant, we are limiting that and rolling it all into a flat 8%. Okay, charging fees. It's not a best practice, and we've been talking about this for years. And so this year, if you are charging fees, you can expect the reviewers will take away some points because you're telling them you're going to do something that is not a best practice. I mean, we're talking about serving families that are the poorest of the poor. And this program provides federal money so that they can have a free program. And it muddies the waters a lot when you try to say, okay, we're going to charge fees, because that's our sustainability plan. And that is a very weak argument, because sustainability is done through community partners. And Iowa has the largest number of community partners in the country, almost 800. So that's where your sustainability efforts need to be. And a lot of our families are so struggling that we have the highest rate of both parents working, and a lot of them are working 2 jobs. And so we see that as not a best practice, and you'll have to do additional things if you're charging fees. Okay, we've got some new forms. Form A, which is site information, which is a kind of a snapshot of your program, and then Form H, a community partnership official notice. And that second form only applies to urban districts with 2 or more high schools who are going to have a community partner apply for a second application, because normally there's just 1 application per district. So if you're going to take advantage of that part, we want a little bit more documentation on that. Here's what the Form A looks like. It's really an attractive form with a lot of nice formatting and colors. And we're trying to have a snapshot on this form, and that is going to be very useful. And here's the rest of it. And data drives our program. There's been calls to end our funding, and the reason why they have not been successful in ending this program is because of data. We have all kinds of data showing that our program is successful helping kids, and we need to keep that up for the future. Here's that second form, the community partnership official notice. And we're going to ask for information from the district, from the community partner, and ask for a little bit of information about that community partner. Okay, available points. Applications are eligible for up to 119 points. And some of those points are bonus points. If you do comprehensive or targeted, you can get 5 bonus points. If you have countywide child poverty over 17%, you get 5 bonus points. Last year it was 18%, and we've lowered that down to 17% for this year. And if you're a rural district, as defined by the US Census, you'll get an additional 5 bonus points. Okay, and for the first one, you need to document the fact that your school needs assistance through being either comprehensive or targeted. And you do that on the Iowa School Performance website. However, the site was down last week, and right now it's asking for a password. But if you need this information and there's an issue with the site, you need to email me with the schools that you need that information for, and we'll be happy to provide it. Okay, so it's not only comprehensive and targeted, you also have to have collaboration with a local community partner. So somebody that's working with you on a regular basis. And no, not just a vendor. Now, if you've had funding for the previous 5 years and you're still in comprehensive, we're going to take a look at that. The data is showing that you're not making progress. You're going to need to explain this in your narrative. You know, this grant, we need to make a difference for kids. This is absolutely vital. And if you're having, you know, an issue with some of your data at any time, when you're in the program, you need to contact me and I'll be happy to work with you. There are a lot of things we can do to help kids, and it may be a few things that are out of place and we can correct them easily. And we've got some changes in the rubric surrounding sustainability. So if an applicant has funding and a few community partners, these guys are going to get fewer points. Notice one of the big changes is we're empowering the reviewers to take a look, and if a program has evidence that it's not high quality and it's not making a difference, you're going to lose points big time, and your application will not be funded as a result of not having the points. Check your answers to your question. That's really important because, you know, if you put false information, that can taint your entire application and it could be considered grant fraud, according to the definition by the Office of Inspector General. Now, over the past few years, grantees have received emails informing them of federal and state requirements in the grant agreement for attending meetings and professional development. And that's part of our state compliance with ESSA. And we incorporate a lot of that data into the application process. And we take attendance when we have our meetings. And we want to make sure that we're in full compliance with the federal statutes. So we've got several years of data on past performance of grantees on their attendance, academics, and participation in the required meetings. So if you've been, not doing what the contract and the statute calls for, you can rest assured that you may, not be funded. We absolutely have to do this because that's a requirement for states under ESSA. Risk assessment. That's one of the things that the states are doing because of the ESSA and federal statute. And there's a citation requiring states to do a formal risk assessment. And in a lot of states, what they do is every year you have to fill out a bunch of paperwork. What I've done in Iowa, and it's been federally approved, is we've incorporated, embedded a lot of these risk assessment questions and checks right in our normal business practices. So you're getting a risk assessment every time you submit your claims. I'm doing a financial review of your claims and your general ledger. When we have meetings, there's a risk assessment based on who's didn't attend. That's a flag. We are checking attendance every quarter. And the grant requirement requires 70% by the end of year 1 and 80% by the end of year 3 on attendance. Right now during the pandemic, there's a grace period until things get back to normal. But keep in mind that other states require up to 100% of what you stated in your grant for attendance, or your grant gets reduced. So you may have some high-risk elements, and there may be other data designating you as high risk. We may even ask the addition of a board member to provide additional oversight in the program at the local level. And we can do this in addition to the superintendent and building principal providing an affidavit of assurances and support for the program. So we need to have key people involved to quickly resolve any issue and make sure that the program is part of the, a collaborator in the overall effort to make sure kids get a great education rather than an outsider. So, okay, this is the certification that we ask the district to sign. Even if it's a community group, the district has to sign. Superintendent and the principal will sign, and it's an affidavit, which carries a little more weight than in the past. And that helps our compliance with risk assessment. And we've increased the role of a principal because, if your program is going to be a success, you have to have the principal involved and have regular meetings with the principal. So we now ask that the principal be provided with the D2 form so they know how many kids are to be served and the budget for these services, and that you're having at least a quarterly meeting with the principal to meet to discuss meeting the needs of kids. And the principal should be providing referrals to the program and helping you with the free and reduced lunch status information on the students as needed. And so that's why when I do a local site visit, I always want to meet with the principal because, they're tremendously important to the success of any program. Okay, and another change we made, we're using spreadsheets for the budget, and rather than have you take and put the information into Word, and then we have to take it out and put it into a spreadsheet, we're just using the spreadsheet. You put your information in the spreadsheet, and we don't have to go back and forth between Word and Excel. And that just saves a lot of effort for everyone involved. We've included a new form that's a 5-year budget to help you plan for your sustainability. And on that 5-year budget, you can add partners so that you get a better sense of the contributions of partners. And it's really good for planning. Okay. Here's what the spreadsheet looks like. And these are our categories. And by the way, this aligns with the federal budget requirements. And this is Form D3. And basically, it's the same spreadsheet, but carries it on for 5 years. Now, if you're an existing grantee, you need to fill out the form for previous sustainability because it's a requirement of the grant, and we need to make sure that you've been doing work within your community that the grant requires. And we always ask some questions. Make sure you answer these questions factually. And one of the big changes is we're providing more data and for our peer reviewers. So the peer reviewer will be looking at things and deducting points if your program doesn't meet some of the requirements. So more than ever, you need to get your ducks in a row and carefully provide all the information possible. Of course, if you have any questions, please contact me. You can send me an email or call me on the phone. I'm happy to take any of those questions and be of service to you and help you to get your grant going forward. Okay, so I'm going to stop this right now. And does anyone have any questions so far?